it should be when it comes to what movements to do first, like for CrossFit, like doing gymnastics and CrossFit. Like, what order would you want to see first? And what I mean by that is like pull-ups to kipping pull-ups to bar muscle-ups to ring muscle-ups, etc. Like, what order would you have first?
Yeah, like, like exactly what you said.
And it may be similar to what's being done now, which is fine, but I'm just curious if there's anything that you would do different.
I'm curious why CrossFit doesn't teach, it seems like one of the core movements for gymnastics, like one of the basic things is like that hollow body position. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to why CrossFit doesn't, like I hadn't even heard of that position until very recently. And that's something that gymnastics people teach like straight off the bat. So I'm curious to see what their opinion on that is.
I've never been to a CrossFit gymnastics course, but I'm pretty sure they do teach it in there.
Right, but I mean to general pop though.
Right, yeah. No, I think because it's just one of those movements that it's not very sexy, and it's not used in workouts because you can't really keep score on it, you know?
But is the hollow position like that, if they're talking about having a neutral position?
Yeah.
Or what is the I'd like them to explain the significance of doing being a hollow position. It's just not exciting, and it's not exciting. It's not fun, but it does have meaning, and I think more people probably should understand that.
Yeah, it's definitely not fun, but there's definitely not enough why behind the reasoning of doing it. Like I explain to people like why we did it. It's a fundamental movement. It helps build, you know, body awareness and core stability, and it translates into all your other gymnastic movements, but I don't feel like that's enough to convince them.
Well, why does a person need to be even? It's like, okay, for CrossFit, there's the 10 skills, fitness skills, and body awareness is not on there, which is interesting.
Right, but their principle of core to extremity is, maybe not in the 10 skills, but that's definitely a principle that they, you know, use over and over and over.
Yeah. And
training the hollow body is something that's going to help translate that to other movements. You just took the test, didn't you?
Yeah, I just took it's core to extremity, midline stabilization, posterior chain engagement.
You passed, right?
I passed. I did.
What do you think of it?
The test was tricky.
No, not the test, but just level 1.
It was good. I mean, I actually learned a few things in that, and it was good to hear like coming out of people who teach it on a regular and who are experts at teaching CrossFit. Like, these folks are like good at teaching CrossFit. So it was good to see how they taught it. I think a lot of people should do. I mean, I know it's like $1,000, but and you have to do it every 5 years. But I think more people should be exposed to that cert, and maybe even do it more often than 5 years, because a lot of that stuff is just too much stuff to just get in one go round at it. So
is Chuck still doing them? Chuck Carswell?
I think so.
He did mine. That dude's. If I could only have one person locked down on the show, it'd be Chuck.
I think everybody loves Chuck.
That dude's the man.
Yeah, he did mine too. I did mine in Atlanta, CrossFit Atlanta, with the originals.
Was Mike G on yours?
Mike G did mine, Russell Berger. It was fun. I got to go up and train in Atlanta for a couple of days.
One thing I really liked about, I don't know if they did this in your cert, but they really talked about the importance of like coaching and being present as a coach. Like I've been to gyms and CrossFit gyms and where the coach is like checked out and not paying attention to the athlete, and that's like not what that's not what CrossFit's supposed to be. You're supposed to teach and coach and get feedback and correct movement. Like,
why do you think that is?
That people aren't paying attention?
Why people aren't that coaches check out, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, to me, that's a huge disservice to your membership, and then people wonder why no one wants to go to their gym after a while.
Yeah.
Why do you think it is?
I was hoping you'd ask. I think it's because they're doing too much. I think too many coaches and gym owners are running the whole business themselves. They're running the whole gym, they're managing all the clients, and they're coaching the classes. And I don't know if you've ever coached multiple classes in a day before, but it's exhausting.
Yes, I have.
It is really exhausting. And I am not like saying it's okay by any means, but I'm definitely looking at it from both sides, and that I think the businesses are run in a different way that most businesses would be run, where you have one person wearing 3 hats, and it's exhausting in the gym.
Also, too, there's a level of caring that for each person that comes to the door to actually to give them the value that you want to give them. You really do have to care, and that means you have to be on, and being on that much. It does, it's not hard labor or anything, but it does drain you a little bit.
Oh, dude, I'm smoked. Like if I do 2 or 3 classes in a row, I'm smoked. Even though on paper it's only 3 hours of work, but after that 3 hours, I am like literally smoked for the day. Mainly because too, I'm like extremely like when I get around a lot of people, I get really excited and I waste a lot of energy. So by the end of that, I'm like,
yeah, but I mean, I think to counter that though, there are a lot of, I have been seeing coaches and been in gyms where the coach is not giving any kind of attention. They are not there at all. They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, whatever. Like they're texting, and
the one that
they may not, your clientele may not say anything to you because they don't want to be rude or they don't want to like be that person, but
you're babysitting at that point.
They pick up on it, and then you wonder why they won't come around again. That's why.
The one that bugs me, and I'm not like knocking gyms by any means, but is when you go in and you see a coach who shows up like walks in the door with the athletes and like reads the board real quick. And like as they're reading it and analyzing what the workout is of the day, they're explaining it, like because they're hearing it for the first time themselves and they're reading it out loud. And I'm like, your clients can see this, like they can read right through this.
Or reading off the warm up. Okay, go do this and go warm up. I'll be over here. That's what makes CrossFit. And what was I think a lot of people like they hate on CrossFit because they think that CrossFit doesn't care about movement quality, but I feel like CrossFit is very movement. I learned a lot about movement, and
that's what the.
I feel like that whole certification was just basically a movement, like how to move right.
Yeah, I think the level 1, that's what's great about it when it comes to movement practices. There's so much application that whole weekend.
So I think for people to say that, I think it's just they're just seeing the bad apples, where they just. The coaches don't really know, or they're checked out and they're just letting somebody with a rounded lower back try to pick up way too much heavy weight off the ground instead of stopping them. And another thing too is, I don't know, I mean, I've never coached a CrossFit gym or a CrossFit class before, but man, like I've seen folks, and I don't know, maybe there's like an ego thing. You may not, the coach may want to say something, but maybe that athlete is just like their ego is so high, and they just won't.
It happens.
And it's
that's why I wrote that article.
And I mean, you're not going to want to try to argue and get into like an awkward fight with this person by telling them to take the weight off the bar.
I agree. You have to learn to juggle with the balance on like how much you let go and how much you actually like fight
Isn't
against.
that the art though?
It is.
That's the art of coaching.
That is the art of coaching, and like
because it's not all just the science, and it's not all just psychology.
It's not all what you want. It's not all what they want. It's what's in the middle and what's best for the client. But at the same time, you don't want to lose clients either if you're constantly telling them what they're doing wrong and what they can't do.
Right.
So, we've talked about that so much on so many episodes. On like, it's so important to let them know where they're at in the beginning and why they're doing things. That way you don't set them up to fail in the long run.
I think a big thing is letting people know why, and I think a lot of times maybe that just gets overlooked. But explaining why, like one of the things that when I first did CrossFit at CrossFit Memphis or whatever, Doug was always really good about explaining why. And he would be like, okay, well, we're going to take the weight off. And he would explain why. And I would be like, oh, okay. Yeah, I trust that he's correct. So I should just do this.
Did you ever go to class when Rob was coaching?
Oh yeah, he would call you a fucking pussy and that your mom lives better than you do or
Somebody
something.
would be doing something wrong and he'd go, "What are you doing? That's stupid. Why are you doing that?"
Yeah.
It was so bad. I love you, Rob.
There's a lot of psychology I feel with athletes and coaches.
Yeah, man, you have to have great flexibility as a coach in CrossFit because you deal with so many different types of personalities.